Let's spend a little time on this graphic and explore how an entire community can work together to take a generation of students and reverse the 70% loss, prepare them for life ahead. If you've been through the material on this website, you know that this video will show you the talk about the tragic loss where 70% of students fall away, but when they're really connected to campus ministries in advance and prepared with their parents, church after church has seen them succeed and nearly all do well. We've also seen that using this website, you can connect to each of these ministries, become motivated, watch the videos, and then we've also talked about the idea that during this first month on campus, it's a unique period we'll call the sweet spot, where the non-believers are open to almost anything. They've parachuted in separately, they're not connected to their peer groups anymore, they're ready to reinvent themselves. And what would it be like in America if we started preparing high school juniors and seniors who are maybe getting a little bored with their faith, ready to sink their teeth into something meaningful, if you let them engage with students in such a way that they saw the gospel taking hold, they saw lives being transformed. I recall a situation in university a number of years ago in Geneseo where a non-believer became radically transformed in the beginning of the freshman year. The students all saw that, and this excited them, and they leveraged in such a way that this multiplied, and there were 26 other kids that came to Christ in that dorm that semester. Well, it's possible now to set that up so that is more apt to happen than not. So what does it look like? We know this can happen in church, but what does it look like if an entire community goes through this process and lets the students connect? 11th and 12th graders go on to the college's campuses now in the winter and the spring and in the fall and experience campus ministries so that they get a taste of that. And then when they actually go on to college, they hit this sweet spot in the first semester, and they come home for Christmas. Instead of being dull to the faith, they're excited. They're saying, my roommate and I, we actually led someone to the Lord. I've grown more than ever in my life. These friends I have, really know something about walking with Christ. They bring that back to the youth group, and the youth group, this helps ignite them, and they get excited, and all of a sudden, the juniors and seniors see this as a vision. It becomes tangible to them, and it creates a bit of a feedback loop where every year it gets better and better. Well, once you have that in place, the next thing you want to see is, as students start to come alive, how can they impact their high school, and how can they have a safe place in high school to grow with other believers and reach out to their fellow students. Well, the best thing is to have a club right inside the high school. And so fortunately we have Young Life, Youth for Christ, Youth Alive in the schools, and right now Fellowship of Christian Athletes has a lot of favor of actually putting clubs in the schools, usually early in the morning or right after the last class before sports start. It's important to know that non-athletes can be involved as well. So now when the youth pastors are training their students for to how to reach out and how to exhibit the gospel, now they have a platform to do it. It becomes like a lab that they and the youth pastors can work on together to see kids come to Christ and create awakenings in high school. And there's videos and documents on this site that show how that is actually happening. So once that is going, then within the college campus, the leaders more and more realize that they have assets and ways to reach these freshmen, so the college awakening goes greater and greater and greater. And then what if we as a community help prepare them to be leaders into society, to go off and affect the different mountains of culture that they will be working in, whether they're engineers, teachers, leaders, government people, some go into the ministry, that these become leaders into society. And then what does it look like if Businessmen's Fellowship and other ministries come back and help train these students and show them what life is like in the world so they can actually exhibit the kingdom in their world. Well, all these pieces are starting to come together, and we're seeing churches starting to bond with some singular goals. And the two most actionable goals are for this year is to say, what if a whole city, we get all the students connected to campus ministries before they leave home, the whole 2016 students? And what if we as a city find out who the Christian coaches are, the Christian teachers, the principals, and who can then become sponsors, and we start student-led groups in each of the high schools. This can all happen, and the effect is if we can double successful transition to college, they will be effective as an outreach, and we could probably at least triple Christian grads in the society. The good news is some of this is starting to take hold on a national level, which I'll share in another video. Love to hear your comments. Please provide feedback, and you can also contact us with the information you can find on this website. Thanks very much.